what's up, you guys? I'm Roberto Enriquez, your host of Artistic Visions, the show where we like to go in depth with young artists at OCAD, talk about their art, what they like to talk about in their art, and what they would like to talk about in their art. In today's episode, I got a very special guest for a special GradEx episode, Ferny. How you doing?
I'm sick, but I'm here because I'm excited. I've been waiting a lot of time to be here.
Oh,
so,
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I appreciate that. And I appreciate you taking the time out of your day and, coming here for this interview.
Likewise, it's a Sunday, so
Yeah, no, it's a nice little. It got gloomy out of nowhere, sadly, but it was supposed to be nice, like a nice 20-degree day.
Yeah, it's just humid, but whatever.
Yeah, it's just a humid day, which I'm kind of worried about because I got a leather jacket, so I'm gonna be sweating. But anyways, let's just go on with it. Who are you, and what kind of art do you usually make?
Oh, okay. You already said everything. I'm Ferny. That's everything. I'm kidding. I'm Ferny. I am from Peru. I was raised by my family who's from Chile. I think that's like an important aspect to mention because that actually influenced a lot of my thesis work. Like culturally being from different countries and then coming here, but I'm getting ahead of myself. And I don't know, I'm 23, living life in Toronto, just trying to figure out who I am, to be honest.
As most people are.
Yeah. Honestly, it's hard.
Yeah.
It's a lot of pressure, but I think like every day I am getting more answers and still the same amount of questions. But yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's always like you pick up what you can and then you got to deal with the rest later.
Yeah.
And you're in the INTM program, right?
Yes.
So you're in the video making field, but not limited to, which we will see with this first piece. Which remind me what the name is and what are we seeing here?
Okay, yeah. So the name is The State of Being, B with a capital B. It's honestly the first time that I work on a project that's completely about myself. I feel like for most of my time in OCAD and even like before going to uni, everything that I did was about other people. But obviously it's like I'm in charge of what I'm like portraying, so it's like my perception of others, but I was always like trying to be hidden. But I don't know, I feel like for my last project at OCAD I was like, I really want to do something that's about myself. It was hard at first trying to like figure out what I want to say, like how I want to present myself. But yeah, I don't know, I'm not great at explaining what it is about, but yeah.
Oh, I mean, I think what's important about this work is that it's almost like it is a moving image, obviously. It's like a video, but it translates from wall to wall and like section to section.
Yeah.
And we can go into section and section. So we have what I remember. I don't know if this is for the public knowledge, but they're split into 3 sections, and the first one we'll be seeing or talking about is gas, the gases section. And what would you like to talk about the visuals we're seeing here?
In the shooting studio, hook the camera up there. There's like this little dolly, and I just like strapped myself into it and like went like, it was. Yeah. I had a lot of bruises after.
Oh no!
Because it's like you can't really control when to stop. So, but it was fun, and then it's just like putting all of those videos together and like rotoscoping them so that there's no background. And for the colors, I didn't know this because I don't know anything about science, but I have a friend that goes to U of T and like she knows about science unlike me, and she give me this little lesson about how gases work and how they move and the fact that they have color. I didn't know that. So the colors that I picked for those visuals are also representing like real life colors from gases.
Wow.
Yeah.
Because I was noticing how much movement there is. Like, I
Yeah.
didn't know it was shot with just the dolly, you moving. 'Cause
Yeah.
I was wondering how did you, it could have been like placed in an editing software and
Mm-hmm.
then moved digitally, but
AI.
yeah,
Like,
or AI. But you have that movement that's just like is way more natural than
Yeah.
it,
Mm-hmm.
would be to like do it digitally. And I
Yeah.
found that really interesting. But the colors, I found that really interesting. And also you rotoscope. So because that was going to be my question. I'm going to get ahead of myself again. But I think you kind of use the rotoscoping within
Everything
Yes.
for the first time ever too.
Wow. So that must have been time consuming.
Yeah, because as you mentioned, integrated media, you can do anything,
Yes.
to be honest. And I feel like before diving into like my thesis work, I was very more into the production side. But for this one, I really wanted to use my last year as a way to, okay, what haven't I learned yet?
Yeah.
Or like getting out of my comfort zone. So that's when I was like, okay, rotoscoping sounds like a challenge. I'm gonna go for it.
You wanted to go for a challenge.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, because I'm kind of talking about more the general aspect, but because those images are rotoscoped and you're projecting onto a wall, it blackens out everything, but it has so much focus on you and you as a subject.
Terrifying.
Yeah, I mean it is, but it's also it looks just visually stunning, and it's
so
amazing
much.
to see. Let's talk about the other sections before I don't want to move on because I think these other sections are very important too. Let's talk about the liquid section.
Ooh, yeah.
And what would you like to say in this one?
Again, I'm gonna start with what I did. GoPro.
Wow.
Yeah, a pool, just moving around. I was wearing a dress too. I really wanted to capture like the movement of fabric while
Yes.
you know.
It looked amazing. I'll say that right off the
Yeah.
bat.
To be completely honest, that idea of like fabric and like the water movement, at first it was very more of like exploration. I feel like since I was doing things that I've never done before, most of the visuals that you're seeing, it's not really intentional in the way that it was, because I was exploring so much that I was like, okay, out of all of these things that I've done, which one like resonates more with me?
Yeah. And we'll also move on to the solids, which I also really enjoy. I think that has a lot more visual stimulation compared to the other two.
That was the purpose too.
Yeah. Okay.
Like,
yeah. Because I mean, okay. Let's talk about it before I get. I'm getting ahead of myself every single time. But yeah. Let's talk about the solids. What do we see with that?
Yeah. So again, rotoscoping. It's a video of me pole dancing, which pole dancing, I don't know if I'm getting ahead of myself too, but like it kind of tied my whole thesis. But it wasn't like from the beginning. Like I was just exploring with my body in general, and I've started pole dancing like 2 years ago, and I realized that for me it was more of a like an activity, and then I was like, actually, why? Like I should use this for like my art. Like it is part of myself, and my thesis is about myself. I should try to find a way to incorporate that. So that's why it's like the last section. Again, video of me dancing that I rotoscoped, and then I drew frame by frame.
Wow.
Yeah, until like the last part where you can actually see like my human version. Cause yeah, like I guess in like going back to the other like gas and liquid, you can kind of, I don't know if I'm biased because like I did it, but like
Because it's mine.
Because it's mine. Like I know that's me, but
Yeah.
it's like I was trying to conceal that it was me. It's like you can tell that it's a body, but it's like whose body is this? Like who's performing all of this movements? Who's in the water? And then like by the end, it's like, oh, Ferny.
It's Ferny. Yeah. Who else but Ferny?
Yeah.
I'm like realizing, a lot now that there's a lot of spinning actually. That's a common theme, and like just the movement. Because I wanted to touch on the liquid because I really like when the dress starts like flaring open.
Yeah.
And it just gives that form. And another aspect we didn't really touch on is the fact that there are movements to the next section that starts that section. Like from gases, you have a little, like, I think it's yourself laying down.
Yeah.
And it just moves into the next section, which it perfectly kind of mimics you swimming.
Yeah.
And then you swim into the direction of the pole dancing, which has you actually walk into the frame. And so you have this common thing, and you even walk off at the end. So it's like it's all spiraling. So it's really interesting how it's all like just tied together in this. And yeah, and also I forgot to mention, there is sound accompanying this.
Yeah.
And is there anything you'd like to touch on that? Because it gets really intense at the end, but it starts off really nice and somber. So what was kind of the idea?
I guess that, okay, I have a lot to say.
I know. It's a pretty well-versed piece. Like, there's a lot.
Well, I worked on like a whole year on this, so it better.
It's a lot of work, into it. Yeah, of course.
I guess that sound, it's like the opposite of the visuals. I feel like the visuals kind of start more mellow, more slow, and then with the pole dance, it's like the frame by frame. It's like very,
Yes.
But with sound, I think by the end it becomes like more intense too. All what you're hearing is things that I recorded for like
Oh wow.
years, like at least like 2 years. I just really like listening to something that I find interesting, and then it's like, oh, and then in like After Effects I just go crazy. I don't know, I realized that in a way when I was in class I was very focused on like production book and like pre-production and production, and I was like, I really want to step away from that. And after doing like, I don't know, Foley or like matching the sound to like an actual production, I was able to do something more abstract, if that makes sense. And while the sound also was trying to mimic like what I think gas would sound like, and then liquid, and then solid, not really what it would sound like. I just wanted to go like, ooh,
Yeah, it's almost like the culmination of all those aspects in one at the solids. I feel like, you know, because I feel like although it is like your solid form, you still have like such fluid motion, especially with the pole. Like I think that added on way more. And and we're all built of all three. We are gases, liquid, and solids all in one.
Yeah.
So like, just it to me, it signifies a lot more about like who you are, obviously, and like, this is who I am as a person. You might be a little silly here and ride on a dolly every once in a while, and you like swimming, and then you have your activities like pole dancing, which is like another kind of activity for you to just have fun and unwind to, right? And just an amazing piece. I love how much there's so much movement in it, and I just it's really stimulating for me. I love it.
I'm glad you're saying that, because I think that was what I was trying to go for, because I was like, is this boring?
Definitely
like
not.
At first, because I like, you're looking at the final piece, I did explore with a lot of like visuals.
Yes.
Because I feel like since I was, again, I already said that I was trying something new, and since I'm also like in front of the camera, it's like, okay, how can I make this interesting,
Yeah.
So it's like, I'm glad that this is actually interesting.
No, it's amazing. I know that struggle because, as a fellow INTM student, I noticed that, and this is kind of goes for photography. We don't like to be in front of the camera most of the time. We're like, oh, we know what we want, and, when it comes to what you are in front of the camera, obviously your perception changes, and you're like, okay, I have to present myself in a certain way. I have to do this, I have to do that. And so it gets difficult, but the way you approached it here, I think also the fact that you're not showing who you are right away, I think also helps, like, because then when you dismount off your pole, that's like that culmination of everything, and it's like, oh, this is like a calm moment, and it's very, very shocking in that moment. You're like, oh, and then you just walk off. And
Yeah.
it captures a lot of attention to me, at least. And even just the
Amazing.
rotoscoping and this frame by frame, I was actually looking at it, I was like, there's no way she did this frame by frame. 'Cause
I did.
that must
Yeah.
have been a lot of work for that.
Yeah, staying up till like 5 a.m.
Oh my.
for many days. Cause not gonna lie, again, I don't know why I decided to like do this to myself in the sense of I'm gonna do like artistic things that I've never done before for my final work. So drawing is also something that I wouldn't say I'm good at. Like if you actually take your time and start looking frame by frame, there's some weird stuff in there.
Yeah,
I
I will say the one frame I caught without pausing, there's a Minecraft creeper in there. I know that for a fact.
Yeah.
I saw it. I was like,
There's
is there a
one.
creeper in there?
There's weird, yeah.
Yeah, but those are all aspects that make you,
Yeah,
right?
like honestly, yeah. I really try. I think that's why I was up till like 5 a.m. I'm like an onion. Like I need to find every layer of myself and like include it in each frame. So yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think what you did here and, talking about your, the form of who you are in the different aspects, I think is so well done with every aspect. I just absolutely love, though, that it's like the projector is only projecting you. I think with that aspect, one, you can place this anywhere with basically a white wall, right? Or maybe a black wall. I don't actually. Maybe it get absorbed, maybe not.
Oh, it doesn't work.
Okay,
I did try.
Even like the solid section, like I really love the amount of glow you have. Like,
Yeah.
and it reflects off the wall. So I feel like with that aspect, it's like you present your wait. What am I trying to say? You're like a lot more present. Like I feel like it's like this figure, right? And I'm like watching and seeing what they're gonna do because. Although I feel like everything glows, I feel like because that part is the brightest, it's like
That was also intentional.
Yes.
Yeah, when drawing frame by frame, there's like this glow effect on Photoshop that it just makes everything brighter.
Wow.
So
there you go.
thank you, Adobe.
Yeah, shout out Adobe for providing all the tools for OCAD students. Absolutely amazing piece. I'm very excited to see this in person. And you guys should be excited as well. And please go to GradEx May 1st to 5th. Do you actually know which room you're going to be presenting in?
Yeah, room 340.
340.
Third floor, main building. There's also Lou Roses,
yes.
and Brigitte. We're sharing a room. Amazing art. Everything looks amazing. You guys should go.
Let's move on to my next question. Who or what kind of was the inspiration behind your thesis piece?
Is it bad if I say myself?
No, not at all. Not at all.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess I'm like my worst enemy, Like I tend to compare myself a lot to who I was in the past. And I think of like Ferny in like her first year, like scared of everything, and then like pandemic started, so that also didn't help at all. So I feel like I didn't have a presence, that sounds so bad, but I'm just being real.
Like when you like look from it outside.
I'm like I don't even know what I'm doing or like what I want to do. Like I don't see anything, Doing this project was a lot of like self-reflection. I wasn't like satisfied with anything that I have done so far in school. So that really like triggered me. But at the same time, it like pushed me to think a lot about like, okay, like this is not like your last chance, but I also like exaggerating. So it's like, do something that's at least meaningful to you. So being like that, maybe being a little bit too tough on myself was what made everything like what you're seeing.
Well, because what you said in the beginning, where it's like you looked at aspects of things that you didn't try yet, like rotoscoping, for instance, and maybe projection work, but to be at that point where it's like, what can I do to kind of at the same time self-reflect on who I am as a person and what I've learned and who I've grown up to be.
Yeah.
And how can I apply that to an artistic, in an artistic form. And what I think here is, because like I think this is like a really great representation of who you are, as you know, because you have different forms, of course, and you have like these different moments that you have within yourself, but you're also sharing that with other people, and really, and so that's really a cool aspect. And you know, I feel like it's really easy to have a self-saboteur kind of idea, right? Like it's really hard to not just compare yourself to other people.
I don't know. Sometimes I feel like comparing myself to others is like, I don't know if it's worse than comparing yourself to like your past self, but I don't know. I was like, ew, like I'm so boring. I don't know. I don't know how to explain, but that's really what like pushed this project like 100%.
You're proving to yourself that you're not boring.
Thank God. Thank God.
And you're not. I'll say that for sure. You're definitely not boring. They're far from boring.
Thank you.
And this is some amazing artwork. I would like to ask for my next question, my last question of the interview, sadly.
Oh.
What kind of advice would you give to your first year self, now knowing everything you know in your current year?
Oh my God. Very, very deep question. You know what? I guess it's like, don't be so scared. Like, people are not against you. I don't know. Maybe it's because I moved to like this country. Like, I have never gone to OCAD before after like I moved here. Like, I applied, I didn't know anything about the school, and I just like came to my first day. So I was like, oh, so this is OCAD. And I think that it maybe wasn't the best way to like start school. I don't know, trust people more. And yeah, it's the community. It's fun fact, if no one knows, I used to work at the cage.
Yes.
The INTM cage. I think that helped a lot to connect with people, and I feel like I was in desperate need to like make friends, because it's important. I guess that when I first arrived here, I was very much like, okay, I'm like in another country, I need to get like good grades, like I can't fail, like my family sent me here, you know, like the immigrant mindset.
You get the pressure.
And I don't know, I feel like that didn't allow me to enjoy myself as much as I am now. But yeah, it's just make friends, don't be scared to ask questions. Everyone's willing to help you, everyone's learning. People are gonna learn from you too, you know, like since I had the mindset that I'm such a boring and bland person, like I feel like people can also learn from me or stuff about myself. It's like, you should live, love, laugh. Like, it's not that deep.
It's
like,
not that deep.
Like, calm down.
Of course. And, I mean, but like on top of that, you like saying within the INTM cage, you're literally helping and giving these resources to other students and giving them these ideas and resources.
Like feeling useful, you know? Yeah. It's gratifying. And I feel like I didn't feel that at all. And then again, we love the pandemic. No connection with anyone.
Yes.
So then talking to people, and then now that I'm like a mature student, I guess, and you see younger students being like so excited about to work on their art, it's so inspiring. So it's like, oh, this is what I needed. Yeah.
And that's really great to hear, because now that you're at the finish line, you're feeling a little bit better, and I hope you're not feeling boring.
Not anymore.
Okay, that's
sometimes.
Good. Sometimes, okay.
Yeah.
That really shouldn't be there at all, because far from it, like I said. But thank you so much, Ferny, for coming to the show. But before we end off this episode, is there anything you'd like to plug, promote, or put out there for the world to know?
Oh, okay. First, go to GradEx.
Of course.
It's gonna be amazing. May 1st, opening night, till May 5th. You know,
yeah, I'm gonna be switching between the cameras.
You need to go to GradEx. Go to GradEx. Go see my work. I'm not a boring person.
Not, like,
and I don't know. Follow me on Instagram.
Yes.
Fernicle.
Yes.
Just
It'll be on screen.
yeah.
Don't worry. But yes.
And follow Elmer too.
Oh,
Like, of course.
don't worry about that guy.
No, go. So many artists. It's like so important for artists to have like this space
Agreed.
to actually be able to talk about themselves. Because sometimes just showing your art, like, it's okay, that's amazing, that's what you do, it's like your job. But then like actually being able to explain, it's something else. And I feel like that doesn't happen that often, or you don't have someone that's willing to ask the questions.
Oh, nah. That's
So just
All right. Well, I appreciate the kind words, and you know, I'm really glad you got to show off this piece, because this is an amazing piece, and you know, it's obviously there's so much work gone into it, and I was so intrigued by it. So that the fact that we got to connect and talk about it and go into detail about what you tried to accomplish, and there's still so much more that I feel like we didn't touch on. Like, you know, there's still here and there, but other than that, I feel like we got most of the bases for sure. Thank you so much once again for coming on the show.
Thank you.
I hope you had as much fun.
Yeah.
I'm glad you did. And I hope you also have a great time watching this. And I cannot wait to see you guys at GradEx at hopefully Ferny's piece. I'll be there all day just watching it and mesmerized.
Yeah.
And you guys will be too. But yes, come to GradEx, and we'll see you another time, another weekend, and a general day. Bye.